So here we are. Just the two of us.
Down boy. Remember, we're here to continue our review of Creepshow. Today we will be talking about two more tales from Creepshow. My favorite seaside story, Something to Tide You Over.
And my favorite vignette, The Crate. So let's begin.
We make a quick visit to the real world where we see the comic book has turned to the first page of our new tale. Now its pages for some reason. The creep introduces Billy and the rest of us to a story called Something to Tide You Over. This is a story of love and jealousy where a greedy tycoon keeps everything he gets, even people. And his want-to-be ex-wife is no exception.
At least I have nothing to be jealous of. We'll take over from here, guys.
Right. Our villain, played by Leslie Nielsen, is obsessed with keeping what belongs to him. And he makes no exceptions. Ever. He pays a visit to his wife's paramour and demands he come to the beach for a little chat. He also promises he will let the man see Becky.
Of course the little chat proves to be a lot more than that, as our villain drives his captive out to a little beach area called Comfort Point.
Comfort Point proves to be anything but, as the lover is forced to dig a hole and jump into it. Turns out our antagonist for this story wants to bury this guy in the sand up to his neck. He then remembers his promise to let the man see his true love once more.
Our villain then reveals a video which shows that Becky is also buried in the same way, and that the tide is starting to come in. He then tells them they might be able to escape.
If you can hold your breath. Well, you two can certainly hold yours. Shall I continue or? Go ahead, you're doing great so far. I think we'll just practice a little more.
To nobody's surprise, the two lovers drown when the tide finally comes in full force. But not before Becky's true love promises revenge.
And it turns out, just like our villain, our main protagonist for this story also keeps his promises, as both he and Rebecca return from their watery graves to teach the evil man a lesson, leading to one of the best lines in the movie.
You can't shoot us dead, Richard.
Because we're already dead. Was that the alley out back? Anyhow, the story ends with Richard finally getting his comeuppance as the two lovers return to the sea, saying,
"If you can hold your breath. If you can hold your breath."
Think they're ready for the next tale?
Guys? The Crate starts off as a middle-aged couple is attending a university staff gathering. Our main character is there with his obnoxious wife Ilma, who keeps insisting,
"Just call me Billy." Everyone does.
Anyhow, our hero loves to daydream, usually about doing in his overbearing spouse. Though in actuality he's as timid as a dormouse. Then, one day, a school janitor comes across a large crate which seems to be something from an Arctic expedition. The janitor calls our hero's best friend Dexter, who agrees to come and take a look.
Something really interesting must be in that crate.
You could call it that. At any rate, they discover the crate is filled not with old magazines or dated souvenirs, but with a monster that proceeds to devour the janitor. Trying to get help from the school's biggest nerd, he instead ends up giving the creature its next meal. Horrified, he rushes to his henpecked friend, who, after listening to his story, drugs the man, then hatches a perfect scheme.
He writes a letter for his wife Wilma to find, stating that Dexter had a nasty moment with a female co-ed and that his attack left her curled up under the stairs. Believing this, and keen for a bit of gossip, Wilma heads to the school where she is fed to the monster.
Just tell it to call you Billy. In the end, we see that the crate has been dropped into a deep quarry. But that probably won't stop the monster for very long, since it escapes its box, and I'm sure those claws are good for climbing. This is my favorite part of the movie. The characters are fun to watch. And while they are clearly played for dark humor, it is done in a way that's tastefully over the top. I give it a 9 out of 10.
The Crate is a good story, but I prefer the slower pacing of Something to Tide You Over. The characters are believable, and the first time I watched it, I found myself on the edge of my seat wondering what would happen to Rebecca and her lover. Leslie Nielsen played an excellent villain, probably one of the best bad guys he's played since Night Gallery. So I give it an 8 out of 10. Be sure to return for the last segment of our Creepshow review where we tackle the last vignette entitled They're Creeping Up on You.